Hello, my name is TGimlet. I've been playing the Japanese version of this game for about a year and a half, maybe like 2 years, and in that I'm UE rank, so I thought it would be prudent to make a beginner's guide for people who are just getting into the game or who are familiar with the game but haven't played in the Japanese version, just to kind of get your bearings and start out in the best way you can. So the first thing we're going to go over is the gacha banners. So in this game, typically your 3-star units like TM Opera O or your SSR cards like Aguri Cap here are going to have a 0.7% draw rate. And then your SR cards like Sweep Tosho, who we saw in there, are going to have a 2.25% rate to pull. And of course, those are on their specific banners. So TM Opera O can also appear, for example, on this banner, but it's a 3-star banner with a 3% rate for all 3 stars. So what that means is for all of these characters, you have a 3% chance to get a character from this pool. So you have something like a 0.33% chance to get Special Weak, Silent Suzuka, Tokai Teo, something along those lines. And that'll be true for all banners after that. So, for example, you also have a chance to get all of those units on the TM Opera O banner. It's just that TM Opera O will have a higher chance to appear since this is her banner. So some folks would have you believe that you would want to prioritize supports, and to an extent, that's true. For competitive play, support cards are one of the most important things you can get to really push you into that upper echelon. But on the other hand, getting characters is really funny. If you're going to tell me to pull for support cards over TM Opera O, I don't know if I'm following those rules. At the end of the day, I would recommend pulling for the characters who you want, and then you're going to want to selectively pick what support cards you get. So for example, Aguri Cap is not a card that I would say is like necessary for every deck. Upcoming will be Kitasan Black, who a lot of people, myself included, will be pulling for because she is globally renowned for being a very, very good SSR card who kind of carries the meta gameplay, if that's really what you want to follow, which is not something that I really push. I think you should just play the game how you want to play. But if you do care about getting support cards, then what is really important are the bonuses they get, and I'll go over those later. But the more important ones, just to give you kind of a sampler here, are like friendship bonus, motivation bonus, training bonus, specialty rate, and starting bond, stuff like that. Now, the other thing to note is that you don't necessarily need gems or carrots, as they're known. You can also pull on these banners with stuff like tickets. They'll do free pulls every now and again. So if you don't have carrots, it's not too much of a worry. There are other ways to do it. If you want to get TM Opera O, later there'll be implementations where you can race in daily races to get character shards, which you can use to redeem characters. And then also of note is every banner will have a pity at 200 pulls. So you'll see here, once you have 200 pulls on this banner, you can just get TM Opera O if you were so inclined. So now I want to go have a look at the Enhance banner. So let's take a look at characters first. So in this menu, we can look at our potential levels. So what'll happen here is if we were to hypothetically level up Aguri Cap, for example, you would need these mile shoes, and then you can raise the potential so long as you have the money to cover it. And we'll see here that once you do that, she'll level up, and she'll get access to Cloudy Days as a skill. So this will be added to her innate skill pool, so now whenever you train Aguri Cap, she'll have access to this skill. You'll notice that once you get to level 3 and level 5, you get access to gold skills. Gold skills will often be the most powerful skills you can get, especially these awakening skills for these particular units. So Gourmand and Corner Connoisseur will be very good for Aguri Cap. These skills eventually will also be able to evolve into even better skills if you meet certain requirements. Eventually, you'll also be able to level up these skills in particular and just make them cheaper in the shop, which we'll go over later as well. Now, the other thing you can do is you can unlock their star potential. I've already done that a couple of times with, say, Machikane Fukutaru and Grass Wonder here. So once you get them up to level 3, and you'll unlock their special race outfit, as you'll be able to see down here for Gold Chip, Vodka, Daiwa Scott. They only have their standard outfits unlocked so far. So in order to unlock the potential of your umamusume, you'll need star pieces. which you can get from pulling them repeatedly on the gacha page. Or you can go to the shop, which we'll go over in more depth later, but you can come to statue exchange and exchange statues for character pieces. But yeah, that's all we have for the character page. So why don't we go check out the support card page here. So here in the support card menu, we can have a look at all of the support cards we've got between SSRs, SRs, and just the standard rare cards, which you're going to have a lot of. So you can do two things here. You can level up your support cards. Another way to level them up is to just use them in training mode. They'll gain a few levels in there, but only in this menu can you uncap. So you'll notice that my Super Creek here and my Ines Fujin doesn't have any blue crystals there, whereas Super Creek does. So I was able to do this because I had a second copy of Super Creek. You can also use a special gem that I'm not sure is available at this particular moment, but you can get from events to uncap. So you can uncap 4 times to get to cap level 5. And what this does is it will increase the support effects here, and it'll even unlock some as well in the future. Eventually you'll be able to also level up these skills to make them cheaper, just like with characters. Now, one thing you'll also notice from this menu is the support bonus. This is dependent on the levels of all of your support cards, and this support bonus will go into your score in the Team Stadium mode, which I'm going to go over in a moment here. So let's go over our dailies. Here you can see we've got to win a race in career mode or the training mode, run in a daily race, run in 3 daily races, play the team trials or Team Stadium mode as it was previously known, complete a career playthrough, and complete all daily missions to get a big bonus reward. So the majority of these can be done in the race menu. If you go to daily races here, you can see that we just start with 3 tickets to do 3 daily races anyway. So all you need to do is participate in these races. So we'll just go ahead and throw Daiwa Scarlet in here. Now you'll see that Daiwa Scarlet is the #1 favorite here, and you can also tell how good she'll do because she has 3 sets of double circles there. We'll go over that a bit later, but if we just go ahead and run in the race, she should have no problem winning this daily race. You'll see that she's coming in first place. She has a very large gap here, and if we just go ahead and skip, yep, she did win the race. And as you can see, as a reward, we get quite a few materials. We can use these to level up our support cards later. So we're just going to go ahead and do that another 2 times. Another thing is, since you beat the first version of that, you can also go to the next version to unlock better rewards. So Daiwa Scarlet won that one pretty easily as well. So we'll just go ahead and go back here. You might have a little trouble with this top one at first. I wouldn't worry about it too much. So from these daily races, you can win either money or these SP card looking things to level up your support cards, both of which are pretty helpful. In the Japanese version, I usually do only the money one, because once you have all of your cards leveled up to the max, then you just get SP whenever you're using the maximum level instead of leveling up your support cards. But the other mode in here is Team Trials, where you can set up your team. Your team's probably going to look something like this for a while, except it'll have a slightly lower ranked Daiwa Scarlet. So in the Team Trials mode, we can go ahead and throw our team of 5 up against another team. We'll go ahead and go up against Monteals here. So you can see here that I'm probably going to lose this race because Monteals has a lot of racers who are higher ranked than mine. But if we just go ahead and click next here, we can just go through, see results, and get a lot of losses. However, my Daiwa Scarlet is C rank, which is pretty good for right now. We're getting some draws because some of them are Gs. But yeah, we lost that one. This'll happen. It's nothing to worry about too much. Now, the way these are sorted is by difficulty. You can see that the team ranks are pretty different between the 3. So if I wanted to have an easier time, I could probably go down and do this one. So yeah, here I had a much better time. We drew because one of his units won and one of my units won. Here's another thing. The daily sale will pop up whenever you're doing your dailies, so you can come in here and go shopping. So what I'll typically do is I will pick up any character shards that appear here, as well as any shoes that appear here. Later there'll be garlands that appear here too that I'll pick up. But once you're done shopping here, you can go ahead and end the sale. But yeah, once we're done with that, we can go ahead and complete these races until we are out of energy to do so. Alright, so I've run all of my races here. Another daily shop has appeared, so we'll just go ahead and go through that. Now, the important thing you want to do here is to get your team set up to where you can increase your class rank. So at the end of every week, you will be put in a class. So everybody's going to start out in class 1, but once you get promoted, you get access to you get access to more team slots and better rewards as a result. Whatever class you're in also determines what kind of gem reward you get at the end of the week. So if I were to, for example, stay in class 2 at the end of the week, I would get 25 carrots. If I were to get promoted to another class, I would get 100 carrots, but if I were to get demoted, then I would end up with 50 carrots, for example. And that all happens at the end of the week. So you get a good amount of carrots for just playing in this mode. Race events will be coming soon where you can race against other umamusume and get rewards like gems and level up materials. Now before we go into the career mode, I want to go over the shop in a bit more detail. So first we've got the friend point exchange where you can use these points where you can get if your SSR card that you have in your profile or your unit are being used by friends or followers. So you can exchange here for quite a few rewards. You can exchange rewards in the club point for when you make a club. I'm not going to go over that in this guide, but that is rewards you get for doing like item requests and stuff like that. You can do cleat exchange. You get cleats by converting your support cards into these materials. So if you have extras, you can convert them into cleats and get rewards. You get silver for rare, gold for SRs, and rainbow for SSRs. And you can see you can exchange for those tickets, an SR guaranteed ticket, for example. The Clover Exchange is a reward you get at the end of banners. Depending on how much you've pulled on banners, you'll get a certain amount of Clovers that you can come and spend in this shop. Statue Exchange we've already gone over. Voucher Exchange, if you have a voucher like a 3-star unit voucher that you should get at the beginning of the game, you can come in here and exchange it for a 3-star unit of your choice. But with that being said, I think it's about time we started a career mode here. Now, since it's the beginning of the game, the only available scenario is going to be URA Finale. Now, this is the one you should always start with. They'll have more as time goes on, but URA Finale is always the one you should start with, just so you can get a handle on things and figure things out as they go. So let's go ahead and start a run here. We're going to go ahead and make a run with Medjiro McQueen here. So let me explain what's up here. So you can see that she's got many different aptitudes. She's better on turf than dirt races. That's going to be the case for most of your runners. For distances, she's good in medium and long distance races. And her style is that she's good as a pace chaser, which is the former leader if you're coming over from Japan. So we're going to try and build our unit around these attributes. And starting with that, we have the legacy screen here where we're going to pick 2 inspiration units for our character to be based around. Now these are going to be units who you've already trained. So these are the only units who I have trained before. So we're going to go ahead and pick Daiwa Scarlet here. And then for the legacy unit, I actually want to use one of my friend's units just for fun. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a Guri Cap here. You can check in the affinity up here as well that we only have a single circle. The best one would be a double circle, but we just don't have a whole lot of options at this point. So we're just going to go ahead and use this one real quick. So now that we've made our selections, you can see that we're getting quite a few boosts from our legacy units. Everything that's in blue is from Daiwa Scarlet, and everything that's from pink is from a Guri Cap. And you can see over here on our Sparks menu what we're getting exactly. So for instance, from Daiwa Scarlet and her inspiration units that we use to train her, we're getting a Guts, Power, and Stamina boost, which you can see outlined over here. So we've already gone over the blue ones. The pink ones will increase your proficiencies in your strategies here. So for example, we're getting a mile boost from a Guri Cap. So this has the potential to push our mile proficiency to a D. Now, when you're looking at proficiencies, you usually want to focus around proficiencies that have an A, and if you have a proficiency being boosted by a pink factor, it can go to S, which is the highest it can go. So the green factors are for unique skills. So since Aguri Cap has Triumph and Pulse here, we'll be granted that at the beginning of training, and we'll continue to get skill hints for it. And the gray factors represent just regular skills, so Daiwa Scarlet's going to be granting us a chance at straightaway Adept. These aren't guaranteed to get. You have a chance to get these after G1 races, for example. Now, each of these also has a star rank. You can increase these at Agnes Tachyon's Factor Research event if it comes up, but these just kind of increase your chance at getting them or the effects you get. So if we had a 3-star Guts Spark for here, for example, that would be an even bigger boost to the Guts that we're getting from this event. But once we've got this picked, we can go ahead and pick our support cards. So The typical build for these is you want to bring 2 speed cards and pretty much one of everything else if you're just starting out. Later, you're going to want to build decks that have access to skills that complement your units. So like I said, we're going to be trading Musume McQueen as a middle distance pace chaser, so I would want to pick support cards that have access to skills like that. Just to take another look at Super Creek here, you can see her skills here. Now, none of them are specific, but let's find a skill that has a specific note on it. So for example here, Ines Fujin has Speed Eater, which is a mile-only skill. So this will only activate in mile-distance races, which Musume McQueen doesn't have access to. But since I don't have a whole lot of support cards right now, we're just going to go ahead and use just what I have that's highly ranked. You can also auto-select here, so it'll give you whatever you have that's at your best point. So like I said, ideally you want to have 2 speed cards and then one of everything else. So you can see here that I have this friend card here. I'd much rather have a power card, but just for the sake of example, we'll go ahead and use Kiryu in here since she's a friend card with this scenario link. The other thing is SRs can be as good as SSR cards, but if you have SSR cards, you're probably going to want to use them. And if you're getting into competitive play, realistically, you just want uncapped SSRs, or else you're not even really being competitive. But you don't want to stress out about that too much, especially at the beginning of play. If you just want to bring support cards because they have a character who you think is cool and you want to experience a story with them, then by all means, that's what you should be doing. You can also click on the perks menu here. I'm not going to go over the effects that we have for every single one of these. I've already done a video on that if you're curious about it. So you can go to the video in the card to have a look at that. But basically what this is saying is the collection of all of the boosts we get. So for example, friendship bonus. When a special type of training occurs, we're going to be getting a bonus from a vast majority of the cards we've brought here. So we'll go over that as it happens. But let's go ahead and start our career mode. So for this example, I'm going to go ahead and shorten all events just so we can get through training a little quicker and I can go over everything as it's happening. So every scenario you start, you'll have about 70 turns to complete these scenarios. So right now, if we look in details here, we can see that our first goal is to run in the junior make debut. Then later we've got to worry about our fan count and then placing highly in races. So that's all the goals that we have to complete training. And then at the end, we'll have the URA finale set up by Akikawa to get through as well. So just on this screen, we'll go over everything that we're seeing here. We have 11 turns to complete this goal. Our energy bar will go down whenever we do a training. Our motivation bar here will give us a boost in stats or a detriment to stats depending on where it's at. And then if we want to see our stats, we can also do it from this screen. So we're just going to go ahead and do some training here. What I like to do typically is I would like to find where all of my units are so that I can train with all of them and increase these bars here. So once you get these bars to the last little section here, you'll be able to unlock a special kind of training, which is a boost if they're in the same facility that they're in. Now, let's go over everything that the training gives you. Speed is pretty self-explanatory. It's the most important stat in the game. It determines how fast your unit runs. Stamina you can think of as sort of your HP. So the faster and longer your umamusume will run, the more this will deplete. This will also deplete faster for strategies like Front Runner, for example. Power affects your acceleration or velocity, which is the rate at which your speed increases and how well your unit moves up hills. Guts will lower stamina consumption and it helps with speed at the last spurt of the race. Now, Wit's main purpose is to increase the rate of skill activation. It also helps units use strategies such as breaking out when they're blocked in during a race. And training Wit, as you'll have seen, will not decrease your energy bar up here, whereas Guts does. It'll actually increase it. Now here as well, you'll also notice that we have maximums of 1200 in each of these categories. Each scenario has different skill caps. So if you're training in, say, Aoharu Cup, you'll see different numbers here. But for the most part, we can only go up to 1200 here. We're not going to get anywhere close to that in this run just because we don't have the ability to do so based on who we have brought as inspiration units and the support cards we've brought. But yeah, for right now, we've got 3 units here in Guts, so I'm going to go ahead and train here, and you'll see that all of these bars go up. Now you'll notice these events going on. These are from the support cards that we're using. They have different effects as well. They'll usually get you skill hints or they'll recover your stamina like that one did. So now we've got one of these red exclamation points, which you'll see in stamina. We have Ines Fujin, and this is for getting skill hints. So if we do the stamina training here, we'll see a support card event from Ines Fujin, who will give us a skill hint. We'll also have these kind of support card events where Agnes Tachyon is here to give us an event. We have a selection we can make here, which will usually either give us you know, skill points, a boost in stats, or even potentially another skill hint. So you can see we got wit and power from her. Now, the skill that we got from Ines Fujin should appear in the skill shop here that we can access. I don't usually get skills until the very end of the training scenario, or if I don't think I can win a race. But now that my energy has reached a lower point, if we go into the training menu, you'll see that we have a failure rate here of 23%. That's not a risk I'm willing to take at this time, so we're going to go ahead and do a rest, which will increase our energy by either 30, 50, or 70. Now you'll notice our motivation just went up as well. So from that support card event, our motivation is now good, and we will get an increase in training. Now it's important to note that also, if your mood goes down, then you'll have a worse time. And if you want to increase this manually, you can go to the recreation menu and go on an outing with your horse girl. So now we're at great. But since our goal is only to run in this race, we don't actually have to win it. So I am just going to go ahead and continue training the way I did. I should be training more in speed here, so that's what I'm going to try to do. So you saw from that last one that we got the charming condition, which is going to increase our friendship bonus. So those bars that I was talking about earlier will now increase even more if we train with them. So we're just going to go ahead and get our speed to F tier so that we have an easier time in this race. So now that we've reached the end of our previous turn here, we're going to enter into a race. So on this menu, you can check predictions here to see how well your runner is predicted to partake. Now, when you have double circles here, that means that you are good in that category. Single circles means you should probably focus on training that a little bit more. So in my next little training segment, I'm probably going to focus a little bit on speed and power, provided that I'm not focusing on other things. But we're going to go ahead and participate in this race. Now, you can skip this race if you've seen it before, but just to show you, I'm going to go ahead and run in it for a little bit here. So at the start of the race, it didn't happen, but there is a chance for you to get a late start, which will put you behind the other runners a little bit. That is affected by your wit as well, so as long as your wit is high, that should happen less often. But you'll notice that Majora McQueen here is remaining in a spot where she's toward the front. That's thanks to her pace chaser aptitude. If she were anything else, she'd be in a different position trying to keep up with that. She can also enter into a panic state where she doesn't follow that strategy at all. That will not happen if your wit is high enough, but it may happen. Now, the other thing is there are all sorts of different kinds of races, as you've seen. This one in particular, I believe, is a middle distance race because I think it was 2,000 meters. So this is well within Majora McQueen's aptitudes. There are also terrain conditions to consider. This one has fine conditions. If it had bad terrain conditions, then your speed would be decreased by 50 and it would increase your stamina consumption. If you were on a dirt field, then it would decrease your power. We've got the ultimate skill procking here, by the way, which is a chance based on your wit and depending on where you are in a race sometimes. So for example, you have some ultimate skills that'll activate if you're ahead of the pack, for example. Now, the other thing, to get back to my other point, was turf normally doesn't decrease your power as long as it's in good condition. Otherwise, your power will be decreased by 50. So, McQueen won a race. That's great. So this screen just tells us the details of the race. It was a medium distance course, as we well knew. We have the time it took her to win. We have her strategy. We have her favorite there. But there's nothing really to learn from this screen. If you had lost the race and you placed below what you were supposed to, you would have the opportunity to rerun it. You have a limited amount of times you can do that. I believe you have 5 chances, and you have to have a special clock item to do so. But we're just going to go ahead and go next here. Our fan count has gone up, so this is a requirement for some goals. I know our next goal is to get to 3,000 fans, and I'll go over how to do that as well. So we get some rewards for doing that, but we're going to go ahead and move on. She'll get some boosts for winning in her race, and our goal is complete. So it's on to the next one, which is to earn 3,000 fans. Now, we have 12 turns to do that, and the only way to increase our fan count is to really participate in races. So we're going to go to the race menu, and picking center stage here will allow us to get races recommended to us that will increase our fan count a lot. We don't have any right now, so we're just going to train until something shows up there. Okay, our training facility just leveled up for wit, so now it's a level 2 facility, which means we'll get an even bigger boost from training there, and we've got a rainbow training as well. So this is also known as a friendship training. Now, based on the boost that we saw earlier, we're going to get an even bigger boost from Nishino Flower here to our stat count. So we're going to go ahead and do that training. This is what you want to prioritize. If you have a friendship training, you should usually do it. Now there should be a race here that we can participate in if we're going to go ahead and check. Nope, that's a sprint. So yeah, if your unit is not good for this race, you'll see a lot of X's, triangles. She's not a short distance runner, so we're not going to have her participate in this race. It doesn't look like there are any races here right now, so we're just going to carry on. Alright, so we finally got a race that we can participate in. You'll see it's recommended here. If we check predictions, we'll see that, yeah, it's the same as before. So we're going to go ahead and run in this race to get some more fans. We can get 1,600, but if we win, it can actually go higher than that. So McQueen did win that race. As you'll see here, we're going to get a boost in fans because we came in first place. So at the menu, it says 1,600. We're getting about 2,500 or so. So we can go ahead and cross that goal off as well. But yeah, at this point in training, we're focusing purely on friendship trainings, trainings with a lot of people at them, and just getting up our stats that were in single circles in that last race. So I want to try and focus on speed and power, and if I can't, then we're going to go ahead and do this training because Super Creek needs to have her friendship boosted. And yeah, you just repeat this process until you achieve your goals. Just for the record, the only failure rate that I'm willing to accept is under 10%. So if you fail a training, not only do you lose out on your training points, but you also will probably get a negative status effect that you have to heal at the infirmary. And the infirmary will heal the status, but it will not recover as much stamina as resting. So if you fail a training, you're kind of stuck for a little while. This is why it's important to keep your energy up. Also, every so often, you'll get the trainee event extra training. If you want to get extra stats, that you can just click on this top one, and she will, at the cost of stamina, get some more in her stats that she was training in originally. Now here's an inspiration event. So we have our 2 legacy units who we were training with earlier, and we click go here, and we will be granted even more boosts from them. So this will happen at the beginning of the training as well as twice during the training. So you can see that we just got a lot of inspiration from Daiwa Scarlet and Naguri Cap, increasing some of our stats, a skill hint for the view from the lead is mine, and another one from the view from the lead is mine. And you can see here we also got one from Silent Suzuka, who is one of the legacy unit's parents. Now you saw we just got a skill hint that was a gold skill. Like I said earlier, gold skills are the best skills that you can get. However, you probably don't want to buy it immediately after you get it because it can get cheaper later in the scenario. I'm going to go ahead and buy it when I think I need it. So I'm going to leave it for now just in case I get more skill hints so that I don't have to waste all of my skill points because those are very few and far between at the moment. So Hayakawa's stopping us to tell us that summer training is coming up. Summer training has the benefit of increasing all of your training facilities levels to 5. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to train in wit since that won't take my energy down. And after this, even though I have pretty high energy, I'm going to go ahead and rest. See, my energy just went down from that support card event, so I need to rest here to make sure that I'm ready to spend as much time training in the summer as possible. So you want to make sure that you're getting the most here. You can see that our stats are very boosted, so we're going to go ahead and just do what we were doing and try our luck. We stay here for 4 turns, so you want to try and get the most you can. I will usually train in wit at least once so that I can avoid using a rest here. But if you were so inclined to use a rest, not only would you get a little bit of energy, you would also increase your mood. So if you have a low mood and you're near the summer training, that is a way you can increase it. Usually you want to keep it in the good section, so I'm not going to bother with it right now. I'm just going to train like I normally have been. So now we're at our next race. You can see I've got double circles and everything, so I should have no problem winning in this race. So yeah, McQueen came in second place, surprisingly. I don't need to place in first in this race, so we're just going to go ahead and let that happen. Now this one's looking a little dicier because I have a triangle in power, but let's see what happens. So now that I've lost in 2 straight races, I'm a little concerned, so I am going to try and put an emphasis on what was holding me back, and I believe that is power, so I'm going to try and focus on that whenever I can. And on top of that, I need to get more fans, so I need to keep an eye on the race menu as well. Another thing is, anytime you win a race that you have not won before, you'll get carrots and a trophy for your trophy menu. So that's great, and now I don't have to worry about my fan count for probably a really long time. Another thing that you want to avoid that I just thought of is that if you're running in multiple races in a row, then you have a big chance to get your horse girl afflicted with a bad condition, so you really want to only keep it to races. If you're going to do it, make sure it's only 2 in a row. If you do anything higher than 3 in a row, then you're really starting to push your luck with it. So we've got another inspiration done here. We're getting the normal stuff you would expect. More hints. You can see here that we got a lot of boost to our stats and a couple of more hints. Now when it says gained 3 hint levels, that means that the discount for Triumphant Pulse will now be even less so. So it's at a 35% discount in the shop right now. So looking at this again, we're really starting to fall behind stat-wise. So that is something that is a little concerning and might want me to start thinking about getting skills just so I can try to compete better. But we'll see how this race goes, and I'll make my final decision on that at the end of it. So yeah, my queen came in 5th, which is a massive problem, and since I am falling behind what it's expecting me to do, it's giving me a chance to replay. So I need to place higher in this training mode, so we're just going to go ahead and use one of those clocks and race again. Now, since I lost again, now I have to start using my own stock of clocks to try and reach the higher points. So unfortunately, no matter how many clocks I used, I couldn't pass the barrier, so I probably should have bought skills before this race, but that's the end of that training run, unfortunately. So I didn't make it to the URA finale, but this is what the end screen looks like. You can go ahead and buy skills. I went ahead and purchased the skills that I inherited from my legacy units, and I went and got Swinging Maestro. I went and picked up Steadfast because it's good for middle distancers. But yeah, unfortunately that's the end of the run, which is fine because I had kind of run out of things to talk about during training. So as far as the beginner's guide goes, this is where that's going to end in terms of training. But we're going to go ahead and complete career, and it will show us in this screen the legacy traits that we're getting, as well as our overall rank. So if we just go ahead and go forward here. So if we want to use this Majoroma Queen as an inspiration unit later, we can get a boost in stamina, turf, and her unique skill. Now, turf is pretty good because you're always going to want a boost in turf unless you're training a dirt unit. So I came out of this with a pretty good legacy unit after all, so it's not all bad, but we're going to go ahead and close out. It'll give us a rating of this unit compared to other versions that we've already trained. So we'll go ahead and confirm this. Now we'll get a boost to the bond as well. This doesn't really matter as much unless you're going for like the story mode, or if you rank her up enough, then during Valentine's you get chocolate from them as a story event. But don't worry about this part too much. And then you can see that our support cards are getting levels. Since we have max, we're getting support points from them. And then if we were so inclined, we could go ahead and add this unit to our team. And this Dailies card is actually better in Mile, so we're going to move them around here a bit. So we'll go ahead and put her here, and then take Vodka out and put Dailies Scarlet in. And if we confirm, you see we're going to rank up here. So if we confirm, we're going to increase in our team rank and get a little reward. And we can see how close we are to the next one. Go ahead and close out. And then if we go back to the home page, we'll see that we have cleared all of our daily missions. So even though I failed the training, I still completed the career mode. So we can go ahead and collect all of our rewards here. So that's all I've got in terms of a beginner's guide. If anybody wants to leave a comment with anything that I may have missed, which I probably did miss a lot, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try to reach out to you and we'll see what we can work out. But yeah, that's all in terms of this beginner's guide. I hope it helped you out, and stay tuned for more in the future.